The bell rang out across the Galactic Academy of Advanced Studies, signaling the start of another grueling day. Nathan Callahan, an Australian student, trudged into the vast, shimmering halls with a sinking feeling. His classmates, a diverse mix of alien species, buzzed with excitement and energy, but Nathan felt only dread. Nathan slumped into his seat in the Advanced Strategic Combat classroom, avoiding eye contact with the others. Professor Arden, a tall, slender figure with iridescent skin and eyes that glowed with an inner light, entered the room. His presence commanded respect, and the chatter ceased instantly. "Today, we will review your performance in last week's simulation," Professor Arden announced, his voice resonant. He began handing out holographic tablets displaying each student's results. Nathan's heart sank as his tablet flickered to life. His performance metrics were abysmal, a glaring red bar indicating his rank dead last. He could feel the eyes of his classmates on him, their whispers cutting like knives. "Better luck next time, Callahan," sneered Zixlor, an alien student with a serpentine body and scales that gleamed under the classroom lights. His tone dripped with condescension. "Or maybe you'll just drop out and save us all the embarrassment?" Nathan clenched his fists under the desk, his face flushing with anger and shame. He wanted to retort, but the words stuck in his throat. Zixlor's arrogance was infuriating, but he wasn't wrong. Nathan's performance had been a disaster, and he was struggling to keep up with his peers. Professor Arden finished distributing the tablets and addressed the class. "Remember, these simulations are designed to push you to your limits. Learn from your mistakes and improve. Nathan, please stay after class." The lecture continued, but Nathan barely heard a word. He stared at his tablet, willing the numbers to change. When the bell finally rang, signaling the end of the session, Nathan felt like he could breathe again. The other students filed out, casting curious glances his way. Nathan approached Professor Arden's desk, feeling like a condemned man walking to his execution. The professor looked up, his expression inscrutable. "Sit, Nathan," Arden said, gesturing to a chair. Nathan obeyed, the weight of the day's failures pressing down on him. "Nathan, I see you're struggling," Arden began, "but I believe you have untapped potential. There is a power within you that has yet to be awakened." Nathan shook his head, frustration bubbling up. "I've tried, Professor. I study, I train, but nothing seems to work. I'm just not like the others." Arden leaned forward, his eyes boring into Nathan's. "You are human, Nathan, and humans have a unique resilience. Your power may not be as overt as Zixlor's or as precise as Rena's, but it is there. You just need to find it." Nathan's thoughts were interrupted by the door sliding open. Rina, a tech-savvy alien girl with luminescent skin and quick, agile movements, and Thorn, a towering, silent warrior with a stoic demeanor, entered the room. They were Nathan's closest friends at the academy, and their presence was a balm to his troubled mind. "We heard about the scores," Rina said, her eyes flicking between Nathan and Arden. "We're here to help." Thorn nodded in agreement, his expression solemn but supportive. Nathan felt a flicker of hope. He wasn't alone in this struggle. "Good," Arden said, nodding approvingly. "You'll need your friends. The path ahead won't be easy, but together, you can overcome any obstacle." As Nathan left the classroom with Rina and Thorn, a loud alarm suddenly blared throughout the academy. The lights dimmed, replaced by flashing red warning signals. Nathan's heart pounded as he realized the academy was under attack. Students and faculty rushed through the halls in a frenzy. Nathan, Rina, and Thorn exchanged worried glances. "We need to get to the safe room," Rina said, her voice steady but urgent. "No," Nathan said, surprising himself with the firmness in his tone. "We need to find Professor Arden. He might know what's happening." The trio navigated the chaotic corridors, avoiding falling debris and the panicked crowd. They found Professor Arden in the central atrium, directing students to safety. His eyes widened when he saw them. "Professor, what's going on?" Nathan asked, breathless. "The academy is under attack," Arden said grimly. "An unknown alien force has breached our defenses. We must secure the students and then prepare to defend ourselves." Nathan felt a surge of determination. This was his chance to prove himself, to show that he wasn't the weakest link. "What can we do to help?" he asked. Arden looked at him, a strange glint in his eye. "There's a critical piece of technology in the archives. It could turn the tide of this battle. Nathan, I need you and your friends to retrieve it." Nathan nodded, his fear replaced by a steely resolve. "We'll get it, Professor." As they set off towards the archives, Nathan felt a newfound sense of purpose. The path ahead was fraught with danger, but he was no longer the worst student in the class. He was part of something greater, and with his friends by his side, he would face whatever challenges lay ahead. The corridors of the Galactic Academy of Advanced Studies were in chaos. Nathan Callahan, flanked by Rena and Thorn, moved swiftly through the throngs of panicked students. The emergency alarms blared incessantly, casting an eerie red glow over the scene. Nathan's heart pounded, a mix of adrenaline and fear surging through his veins. "Keep moving," Rena urged, her luminescent skin flickering with anxiety. Her tech-savvy mind was already calculating escape routes and potential dangers. Thorn, ever the stoic warrior, maintained a calm exterior, his eyes scanning for threats. Nathan's thoughts raced back to Professor Arden's words. There was a piece of technology in the archives that could save them, but what was it? And why did Artie trust him to retrieve it? "Over here," Rena said, guiding them down a less crowded corridor. They reached a massive reinforced door leading to the archives. Nathan pressed his hand against the biometric scanner, hoping his limited access would suffice. The door slid open with a hiss, revealing a dark, cavernous room filled with ancient artifacts and glowing relics. "We need to find the device," Nathan said, his voice steady despite the turmoil within. "Rena, can you locate it?" Rena nodded and immediately began interfacing with the archive's central console, her fingers dancing over the holographic keyboard. "Give me a minute," she muttered, her eyes focused. Thorn stood guard by the entrance, his muscular frame a reassuring presence. Nathan couldn't help but admire his friend's unwavering composure. Despite their differences, they made a formidable team. As Rena worked, Nathan's mind wandered to the origins of the Academy. Founded centuries ago, it was a place where the brightest minds from across the galaxy converged to learn and innovate. It was here that Nathan, a seemingly ordinary human, had struggled to find his place. But now, amid the chaos, he felt a flicker of purpose. "Got it?" Rena exclaimed, pulling Nathan from his reverie. "The device is called the Chrono Crystal. It's supposed to manipulate time, but it's highly unstable." Nathan's eyes widened. "Time manipulation? That's why Professor Ardine sent us. We need to use it to stop the attackers." Rena nodded. "But we have to be careful. One wrong move and it could have catastrophic consequences." "Then let's make sure we do it right," Nathan said, determination hardening his voice. They moved deeper into the archives, following Rena's directions. The air grew colder, and the hum of ancient machinery filled the space. Finally, they reached a small, heavily guarded chamber. Inside, on a pedestal, sat the chrono crystal, a pulsating blue gem that seemed to distort the very air around it. Nathan reached out hesitantly, feeling a strange connection to the crystal. As his fingers brushed against it, a surge of energy shot through him, and for a moment, time seemed to slow. He could see every detail, every movement in exquisite clarity. "Careful," Thorn warned, his voice cutting through the haze. Nathan blinked, shaking off the disorienting sensation. "We have to get this back to Professor Arden," Nathan said, carefully lifting the crystal. It felt both light and heavy, as if it was not entirely bound by the physical laws of their world. Suddenly, a deafening explosion rocked the archives. The ground shook, and dust rained down from the ceiling. Nathan's grip tightened on the crystal as they turned to see a group of hostile aliens forcing their way through the entrance. "It's them!" Rena hissed, eyes wide with fear. Thorn drew his weapon, a sleek energy blade that hummed with power. "We have to protect the crystal at all costs," he said, positioning himself between Nathan and the attackers. Nathan felt a surge of panic, but it was quickly replaced by a steely resolve. "Rena, can you find us another way out?" Rena scanned the room, her mind working rapidly. "There's a maintenance shaft behind that wall," she said, pointing to a section of the room that appeared solid. It's our best chance. As Thorn engaged the attackers, Nathan and Rena worked to open the concealed exit. The sounds of battle filled the air, and Nathan glanced back to see Thorn fighting valiantly, holding off the invaders with skill and precision. "Got it," Rena exclaimed as the wall panel slid open, revealing a narrow passageway. "Nathan, go." Nathan hesitated, not wanting to leave Thorn behind, but Thorn's voice boomed over the chaos. "Go, Nathan. I'll hold them off." With a final, determined look, Nathan and Rena slipped into the passage, the wall panel closing behind them. The darkness enveloped them, but the glow of the chrono crystal provided a faint light. "Keep moving," Rena urged, her voice steady despite the tension. "We have to get this to Ardine." As they navigated the narrow shaft, Nathan felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. The fate of the academy rested in his hands, and he couldn't afford to fail. The sound of distant explosions echoed through the passage, reminding him of the urgency of their mission. Finally, they emerged into a hidden corridor leading back to the main part of the academy. The path ahead was fraught with danger, but Nathan knew they had no choice but to press on. The crystal's power pulsed in his grip, a constant reminder of the potential it held and the peril it posed. The hidden corridor seemed endless, each step echoing off the cold, metallic walls. Nathan Callahan's mind raced as he and Rena hurried towards the academy's main atrium, the chrono crystal's glow casting eerie shadows around them. Rena's luminescent skin provided additional light, her determined expression illuminating the path ahead. "Do you think Thorn is okay?" Nathan asked, his voice barely above a whisper. The fear for their friend gnawed at him, but he couldn't afford to slow down. "Thorn can handle himself," Rena replied, though her voice betrayed a hint of worry. "We need to focus on getting this crystal to Professor Arden." They emerged into the bustling atrium, the chaotic scene from earlier replaced by a tense calm. Students and faculty members hurried about, securing the academy against further attacks. Nathan spotted Professor Ardine near the Central Command console, coordinating the defense efforts. "Professor," Nathan called out, making his way through the crowd. Ardine turned, his eyes widening at the sight of the crystal. "Excellent work, Nathan," Ardine said, his voice filled with both relief and urgency. "But we're not out of danger yet. Follow me." Nathan and Rena followed Arden into a secure briefing room. The professor activated a holographic display, revealing a map of the academy and the surrounding area. Red markers indicated the locations of enemy forces. "We've confirmed the attackers are part of a larger conspiracy," Arden explained, his tone grave. "They seek to control the chrono crystal to rewrite history itself. We must use it to stop them, but its power is unstable and dangerous." Nathan felt the weight of the crystal in his hands, the gravity of the situation sinking in. "How do we use it safely?" he asked. Arden's eyes met Nathan's, filled with a mixture of hope and concern. "That's where you come in. Your unique connection to the crystal is something we've never seen before. You may be the key to harnessing its power." A heavy silence fell over the room as Nathan absorbed Arden's words. The responsibility was immense, but he couldn't back down now. "Tell me what I need to do." Arden nodded and began explaining the process, detailing the delicate balance required to control the crystal's energy. Nathan listened intently, every fiber of his being focused on the task ahead. Suddenly, the room shook with a violent tremor, and the lights flickered. Alarms blared, and the holographic display flashed red. "They've breached the outer defenses," Arden said, his voice taut with urgency. "We're running out of time." Rena interfaced with the console, bringing up security footage of the invaders swarming the outer perimeters. "We need to move now," she said. Nathan clenched his fists, determination surging through him. "Let's do this," he said, his voice unwavering. They hurried to the central chamber, where the Academy's core energy matrix was housed. The room hummed with raw power, the air thick with anticipation. Nathan approached the control pedestal, the chrono crystal pulsing in his hand. "Remember what I told you," Arden said, placing a reassuring hand on Nathan's shoulder. "Focus your mind, channel your energy, and let the crystal guide you." Nathan nodded, taking a deep breath to steady himself. He placed the crystal into the pedestal, and immediately, a surge of energy coursed through him. The room around him blurred as the crystal's power enveloped him, pulling him into a vortex of swirling light and sound. Nathan's mind raced as he struggled to control the overwhelming force. He could see glimpses of the past, present, and possible futures flashing before his eyes. The weight of countless timelines pressed down on him, threatening to crush his spirit. But then, amidst the chaos, he saw a vision of the Academy safe and thriving, his friends by his side. This vision anchored him, giving him the strength to push through the turmoil. He focused all his energy on that single image, channeling the crystal's power towards that future. The room shook violently as the crystal's energy radiated outward, enveloping the Academy in a protective shield. The invaders outside were caught off guard, their advance halted by the sudden barrier. Nathan could feel the crystal's energy stabilizing, its chaotic force now a steady pulse in sync with his own heartbeat. He opened his eyes, the room coming back into focus. Arden, Rena, and the others stared at him in awe. "You did it, Nathan," Arden said, his voice filled with pride. "You've stabilized the crystal and protected the Academy." Nathan felt a wave of relief wash over him, but he knew this was just the beginning. "What now?" he asked, his voice steady. Arden smiled, a look of determination in his eyes. "Now, we take the fight to them. We'll use the crystal's power to push back the invaders and secure our future." Nathan Callahan stood in the heart of the Galactic Academy of Advanced Studies, the chrono crystal glowing in his hand. The Academy's defensive shield pulsed with energy, temporarily halting the invaders' advance. The relief was palpable, but Nathan knew this was only a reprieve. Professor Ardine gathered the senior students and faculty in the central chamber. "We have stabilized the immediate threat," he began, his voice firm. "But the enemy will not stop. They seek to control the chrono crystal and its power. We must take the fight to them and secure our future." Nathan nodded, determination hardening his resolve. Rena and Thorn stood beside him, ready for whatever came next. "What's the plan?" Nathan asked, his voice steady. Arden activated a holographic map, highlighting the enemy's stronghold on the outskirts of the Academy grounds. "We will launch a counterattack to disrupt their command structure. Nathan, your connection to the crystal will be crucial. You will lead the charge, using its power to protect our forces and destabilize theirs." The gravity of Ardine's words weighed heavily on Nathan, but he felt a surge of purpose. "I'm ready," he said, gripping the crystal tightly. As they prepared for the assault, Nathan took a moment to speak with Rena and Thorn. "We've been through a lot together," he said, his voice tinged with emotion. "I couldn't ask for better friends." Rena smiled, her luminescent skin shimmering. "We're with you all the way, Nathan. We've got your back." Thorn placed a reassuring hand on Nathan's shoulder. "Together, we will prevail." With their plans set, they moved out. The Academy's forces, bolstered by the crystal's energy, advanced towards the enemy stronghold. The atmosphere was tense, every step bringing them closer to the confrontation. As they approached the enemy lines, Nathan felt the crystal's power intensify, resonating with his determination. He raised the crystal, projecting a protective shield around their forces. The enemy, caught off guard by the sudden onslaught, scrambled to regroup. The battle was fierce, the air filled with the sounds of energy weapons and the clash of blades. Nathan fought alongside his friends, his newfound abilities giving him an edge. He could sense the enemy's movements, anticipate their attacks, and counter them with precision. Rena used her tech skills to disable enemy defenses, her quick thinking and agility keeping them one step ahead. Thorn's prowess in combat was unmatched, his strength and skill turning the tide in their favor. Together, they were unstoppable. However, the enemy leader, a formidable alien named Vorthax, emerged from the chaos. His eyes locked onto Nathan, recognizing him as the key to the Academy's defense. "You cannot win," Vorthax sneered, his voice dripping with malice. "The power you wield is beyond your control." Nathan felt a surge of anger but channeled it into focus. "We'll see about that," he retorted, stepping forward to confront Vorthax. The crystal in his hand pulsed with energy, responding to his determination. The battle between Nathan and Vorthax was intense, their movements a blur of energy and force. Vorthax's attacks were relentless, but Nathan's connection to the crystal allowed him to anticipate and counter each strike. The two adversaries seemed evenly matched, the outcome hanging in the balance. As the fight raged on, Nathan remembered Arden's advice to focus his mind and channel his energy. He took a deep breath, centering himself. The crystal responded, its energy surging through him with renewed vigor. In a final, desperate move, Nathan unleashed the full power of the crystal, creating a shockwave that knocked Vorthax off his feet. The alien leader stumbled, disoriented, giving Nathan the opening he needed. With a swift, decisive strike, Nathan defeated Vorthax, ending the immediate threat. The enemy forces, witnessing their leader's fall, began to retreat. The Academy's defenders cheered, their victory secured. Nathan stood amidst the chaos, the crystal's glow fading as its energy settled. Arden approached, a look of pride on his face. "You did it, Nathan. You've not only protected the Academy, but also proven the strength within you."